What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the locker room. I am your host and your favorite Kansas City girl, Kennedy Bright. And as always, what's said in the locker room stays in the locker room. Get your playbooks ready, guys. What is good, rookies? Welcome back to another episode. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about the Tua situation that happened this past week, my reaction to it, my thoughts. So now let's get into it. So I want to try something different. First off, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm in a different spot because this way has like a lot of good lighting, but it's at the angle that I use for my TikToks. So it might be a little funny angle, but I need to keep the angle same. I've noticed that sometimes I just have so much going on in my life and so much happening that I'm like, I can't even get my thoughts together and whatnot. As always, if you ever have any suggestions, any ideas, any topics, anything you want to hear from me, please be sure to DM me on the podcast Instagram. I say the podcast Instagram because I can get to that one better just because like I don't have that much people contacting me or things on it like that. So I'll see it quicker on there before if you message me like on my personal one, you'll probably get sent to like requested and then I might not ever see it. And of course, Instagram is just at Casey Locker Room Talk. And it's always linked down below, linked in all my description bios, everything. You'll find it. So this week we're going to talk about first up, we're going to talk about Tua. So if you do not like necessarily follow sports, you just don't know what's going on. Tua is a quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. And so he played Sunday. And there was like a clip going around. People were making fun of it like it was funny. Some people weren't, not everyone, but it was clips of him going around during the game where he was stumbling. Like, I mean, like, y'all, he was stumbling. Like, he got up and then he like fell to the ground, like to his knees. He got back up and then like he was about to fall back. His teammates were holding him. So that was Sunday. They played on Thursday for Thursday Night Football, which if you don't know, there's pretty much like three big prime time games, I would say. So it's going to be Sunday night, which is a 7 o'clock game, Monday, and then there's Thursday. So those are like your three, like they call them primetime games. Okay. So they played Thursday, a primetime game. It was the Miami Dolphins versus the Cincinnati Bengals. So it's a really big game. Cincinnati Bengals, if you, like I said, don't follow football, Cincinnati Bengals, they went to the Super Bowl last year. Very, very good team. Miami's doing really good this year. So, of course, it's a really big game. Tua was playing, and it was in the first half. I honestly can't even remember which quarter. Like, I kind of honestly stopped watching afterwards. He got tackled, and it seemed like a normal tackle. Like, honestly, it did. He was tackled, and of course, what happened? He hit his back, and like his back, his head, hit the ground as they do, and he rolls over, and he's just like stiff. His fingers are stiff, like he's not moving. And I'm sitting here, and of course, I'm watching the game live, and I'm like, oh, it reminded me of like kind of like when someone has a stroke or something. Like it was very scary. And so when I see it, I'm like, what's wrong with him? Like what's going on? At this point, I forgot about Sunday, right? Until my sister brought it up. And so I'm watching it and it's like freaking me out. He's not moving, you guys. Like his fingers are stuck in like weird positions. So it's not like, when your hands are just up and they're chilling. Like, no, like they were stuck. He's not moving. It was very scary. Okay. And I think the reason it was scary is you can watch on live TV when athletes get injured, like sometimes like where their what is it? They're like bone, like the NBA player where his bone came out of his shin, like things like that are just like nasty, right? Like, oh, that looks like it hurts. But like this was for something to me, like this really triggered me. Like it was very scary. Like I did not know what was going on. I instantly kind of like freaked out. All came to the field. He had to go off on a stretcher. So it was very, to me, like very terrifying for several reasons, and several thoughts in my mind like went through it. So first off, I always like to speak as if to make sure people can always keep up with anything that I ever talk about on my platforms, regardless of having any type of background knowledge. So I will say, not everyone might not know, but concussions are very big in the NFL and football, and not just that they have concussions, but the CTEs that come with it afterwards, right? And CTEs, it cannot be diagnosed or anything until they die. And so the hard part is, a lot of times some athletes will, I put in quotes up, like go insane, kind of, and they'll act out and they'll do things, and people be like, oh, what's wrong with them? It's just like, but it's because the CTE is like developing in their brain, things like that. I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to use too many words. But the point is, it's very big. And the part that I was upset about was like two different layers. Number one, I was like, this man should not be out here playing. Until my sister reminded me about it. So, oh my God, I forgot. Like, yeah, that happened to him on Sunday. He should not have been out there playing. But I also just immediately was kind of upset because Tua, he's like I said, he's a quarterback. He's a fresh quarterback. He was drafted probably about 2 years ago. I cannot exactly remember because I was in college, so it would have been 2 years ago. Because he was one of the athletes I got to cover in college. And the thing is, everyone was talking so bad about him, riding his case, about how he plays and everything. And this year there has been some nice things, that have been said about him. That's a part of sports and things that I just don't like. How people would drag and talk about athletes and just be very rude. And the one thing was I just first thought was like, wow, I hope like his life is okay. I hope this is not a life altering situation. I hope it's not a life altering incident for him because that would suck to play a sport that you love, a sport that you love that you work hard at for entertainment, for people who have talked so bad about you. And now you're going to have, life altering something's going to, and now you might not ever be able to even do human things again. I don't even mean football. Like just something might be wrong with you. And I think that's just so messed up because fans, I think, don't ever realize how much, human people really are. And I will do a whole separate episode on why I do not like fan behavior. Okay. But fans, I don't think they realize it. And another thing is because America, we run so much on money. So, of course, as much as we are greedy to want to watch football, to want to see people play, as the league is the same way. They want to make money. You're giving them money. It's going to happen. And I feel like until there's a change on our end, it's not going to happen. And yes, people love to say, well, they know what they're signing up for. Yeah, you see the pictures and the videos of the men who, are retired that are in wheelchairs and now their legs are messed up and all that. They signed up for that part, sure. You signed up for your body to be beat up and oh man, now I've got real bad arthritis or something. Like that's okay. But they do not sign up to have life altering things going on with their neurologically with their brain. That's not fair. That's not what they signed up for. And at the end of the day, everyone wants to say that, oh, I'm sure they have choices. They don't have choices. Your coach tells you, your coach trainer, they tell you to go back out there and play. You're going to go out there and play. What are you supposed to do? You know how much money we're spending on you? Like, that's how it goes. So I feel like that is literally just so messed up. And it's not something that they signed up for. And it's not fair that they get to be, taken advantage of is to me what it is. They're given these God-given talents, these talents that God has given them on earth to use in whatever way that they choose that suits them. Rather it's a passion for them, rather it's a way to make a better life, finances, better finances for them, whatever the case may be, to get an education, whatever it is. They don't deserve to be exploited, okay, for our entertainment on a Thursday, Sunday, Saturday, whichever level it is, for our entertainment. They don't deserve that. That's not what they deserve. And I think fans have to see it as a problem, but we won't because we enjoy it. Watching football to me is like watching the Hunger Games. That's how fans act like it's the Hunger Games. You know how we could sit there and watch the movie The Hunger Games, like, wow, like they're really watching live people like take each other out. Like that's how we act. Like this is a game and it's not. Like these are people's lives. That to me, that's just crazy. And you think about it, there's so much more life to live after the time they retired. But they might not ever get that chance to really truly live that life. Why is that? Because in their young years, they became, their brains were like damaged. That's ridiculous. That's crazy, you guys. So I think the fans really have to do something different about it. I don't that it hurt me. Like I stopped watching the game. Like the game was technically on, but I couldn't even get my thoughts together because I was like, I need to say something. I need to post something. So I just spoke from my heart, like on my story. And I'll probably include that clip in actually. So that way you guys are kind of able to hear like my emotion in that exact moment. But the point was, you guys, I could not even form thoughts. And I think the problem is until a friend, a family, significant other, someone who has played on a high level, it's not going to click to you. So for instance, if I didn't have friends or guys that I've, dated and stuff who played in the NFL, then it would be sad, but it wouldn't hit me the same. Because if I pictured as my brother never played football, my brother played soccer. So if I look at it, I'm like, oh wow, that is really messed up. Like that, you say that all the time. What if that's your brother? And I'm like, yeah, I know, like that would be sad. It doesn't hit the same until you're imagining that person that you care about who does play. Like, oh my God, what if that's him out there? Like if I'm sitting here and I'm picturing him out there on the ground, like that could be him. Like that was terrifying. That's just not, you don't get it, I don't think, really until it's someone that you care about that is out there. That's when it makes sense. And sadly, by then it's going to be too late. And so I feel like there has to be a change. There needs to be a shift. I know they have like, the players association, things like that and stuff that are in place, but I just feel, of course, it's not going to change overnight. It probably won't change in my lifetime. But I think the people out here have to get to a point where you value them as humans more than you value them as an object. Like if you just want this game and you don't care the cost, maybe we should create some type of robots or something and let them play football out there. Let them play. Let them bang themselves up and do whatever and leave it at that. Maybe we'll try that. Maybe that'll work. But using humans that sit next to us on a plane that eat the same food we eat, that's pretty messed up. I also don't like because I feel like another reason I feel like that they're, being taken advantage of is because I feel like they're preying on a lot of their insecurities. And in that regards, I'm speaking about a lot of them come from poverty and or low income environments or low resources, okay? And they need sports is a great way, number one, to make their income because it's their talent. We all should use our talents that God has given us to, pay for our lives. But also the education factor, being able to get a higher education so that you're able to get a degree, so that you're able to get, a good career, to make a good income, to provide for yourself and, break generational curses and, and bring in generational wealth, things like that. I feel like they know where these men come from and they know what they would go back to if they turn down this opportunity. So no, they're not going to say no. They're not, and at the same time, they deserve the right to see, okay, how great can I become? What is the highest level? What is all that I can achieve? They deserve those, those opportunities and those chances. So I think that they definitely, college programs and the NFL, I think they definitely, prey on those insecurities and take advantage of them that way. Very much manipulation. That's my honest opinion. And honestly, I'm not with it. And I think I want to share a story from when I was younger. I was in probably middle school. There was a Chiefs player who lived in my neighborhood. He literally lived like houses up the street. He uh, went home. He got into it with his girlfriend. They had a daughter. She was literally a baby. And he shot her, drove to Arrowhead Stadium, uh, called the coaches out, told them that he didn't know what was going on. He don't know, I don't know what's happening, told them what just happened at the house. The baby girl just left there at the house. He doesn't know what's going on. He's sorry. He don't know what's happening to him, like, why he's feeling this way, everything. Literally blows his brains out, you guys, at in the Arrowhead parking lot, right in front of the coaches. And of course, like later came out, they believed, of course, like we very high. That's when like CTE was like really like, that's kind of what he had. And I always will remember that, like I'm coming home as a kid and there's tape and stuff like all in your neighborhood and everything because it's like a legit crime scene. And that poor girl, like now she's grown up, she's older now, she doesn't have a mom or a dad, and her memory is gonna be of her dad, killing her mom, and it's just like these are real people in real lives, and regardless of anything, like it's not what they deserve. And it's not concussions are not the problem. Concussions did not originate in football. Concussions are not. It's the fact that these men aren't given the proper treatment. That's the problem. They're not given the proper treatment. They're not being taken care of the way they should. Everyday person with concussions are. They're still being required to play and participate. It's wrong. Just like they have to play with broken bones. Come on now. And this is not speaking from just a assumption. I've seen it with my own eyes. My friends, guys I've talked to, going out there playing with broken bones on their body because they need them to play. It's not a thing. And I think we have to really start seeing them more as humans and what they deserve and not so much about this money and our fantasy leagues and all that. Like it has to be taken more serious. It really does. And I think the fact that it isn't is very hurtful. And I hope he's doing well and everyone, wanted to kind of, I felt when they were giving the reports, like, he's headed to the trauma center and he's moving all his extremities and stuff. And I'm like, there's plenty of athletes who walk off a field moving their extremities who still, okay, have have very bad concussions. All right. So I get it. We want to act like now, like, oh yeah, guys, like he's doing way better than we thought. It doesn't like to me, I'm like, I don't care. Like there's still something going on. And I also and to know guys and to see guys who I talk to who literally will say to me why they're having trouble remembering something or thinking and telling me like my mind, like I don't remember things the way I did. I this or that. And they're telling me like, oh, it's the concussions because they've been diagnosed with concussions, but the league still requires them to play. They just kind of brush it off. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that's hurtful to hear someone at young ages of, 24, 25, 26, and you coming to me, you telling me, talking about how you can't remember things, how your mind is, how it's all foggy, how your mental health is doing and things like that because you have unhealed concussions and are going out there tackling and getting tackled. And what's happening? It's just making it worse. Like that is terrible. And especially because I've had a severe concussion before So I can only imagine, and it was just once, and it's got me messed up, you guys. I struggle now because of my concussion. So I can only imagine having a bad concussion and then to keep over and over and over again. Like that's a different type of pain. Like that is painful. So I as much as I love football, you guys know I love football. And that's a thing. I love football, and I'm gonna tell you why I love it because I want to make sure this is clear that I am different from other people. I love football because I love how much athleticism you can see in one sport. How high someone can jump, how hard they can hurdle over somebody, their speed, their strength, their vertical. Like there's so much you can see in football. The athleticism of a human is why I love it. But there are people out here who truly love football. Why do they love football? Because how gruesome it is. It's a contact sport. The hits, the tackle, the collisions. Like you do know there are people on the other end of that, right? Like that drives me insane to hear people say such just disgusting things. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, I can't. I'm sorry. Like, it's not it, you guys. And I feel bad because I think of like the next generation, the next ones that are coming along right now in my life. Like, I want to work hard so that I'm able to provide my kids with resources for a good education, for whatever it is they want to do in life. And if my son says, "Well, I don't wanna play football. I don't like what it's doing, to people," or "I don't like what I see from, Uncle so and so and stuff," I don't wanna do that. I want them to feel like they truly have that option and go play a different sport, but not feel like they need to do that because they wanna go to college and they want a good education, or they need to play because, that's how they're gonna make money, or how sadly some people think they're not smart. Some people think they're not smart enough, you know, to just be a regular, human in society. And people tell them all the time, all you're good for is sports. This is what you're good at. You ain't good at anything else. Like, I don't want my kids to feel that way because that's how I feel like a lot of these men end up in these situations. And when you come from, because you guys know I, played sports in college. So I know how organizations work and how they cover things up and hide things and don't, will make you look crazy. And so I feel bad too, because I feel like there's a lot of things that these men probably want to discuss and say and share with the world about what it's like inside of, being in this profession. But sadly, guess what? They can't. You don't know what kind of NDAs and things they sign. You don't. And this is one of the things why when I was in college, I kind of decided if I'm going to do something in sports, like I want to do something for myself. I want to create it my own way. Like I don't want to work for anybody because I'm going to be able to speak my mind. I want to be able to say how I feel. I want to be able to call things and organizations, things that are wrong. I don't want to have to put a smile on my face and act like what everything going on here is great. I don't want to. That's not what I want. And I feel sorry for people who fall into traps of different type of, organizations, programs, whatever it is that they're a part of where, you truly cannot say and speak and have a voice is really what it is. That's really what it is. And it's a lot of people who have generational wealth, who have grown up living very nice, lavish, cushy lives, who are making these choices and making these ignorant statements and making it come off like, oh, they had a choice. They always had a choice. They just chose to play football. That's their choice. Yeah, well, we all know the way America is set up, how our education system is not the same across America, how everybody does not have the same, opportunities and access to resources in this country. But the one thing that I'm sorry, majority of African Americans have over other races is our athleticism. We're able to use that. Now you're still finding a way to still keep us down, to still keep us below, because now you're messing with these black men's mental health, these black men's minds. And no, there are white people I know getting, concussions and CTO that, yeah, I got that. Okay. We know that. But I look at people like Patrick Mahomes. Yes, he's black, but he didn't grow up in the environment I'm talking about. Patrick Mahomes and Drew Lock, he's from Kansas City. Another one. I look at them, those young men would have had options if they chose not to play football. They would have had resources to getting a better, education. They would have had choices, and a lot of these young men, and like I used the example, Najee Harris, not one. He talks about how he grew up in homeless shelters and things and lived in cars. Like that's not that's not the same. So you can sit here and say that everyone has options, but not everyone does not have options when you grow up in a country who has constantly, since the beginning of time, taken resources away, tried to limit you, tried to make you not, become better. So that's just that's a whole nother topic for another day. But I didn't even plan on talking about this the whole episode today, but I wanted to. I felt like it was in me and I wanted to speak about it. Like I said, I'll add the clip in. And I literally started shedding tears because I was like, oh my God. Like I think about times that I have seen someone I care about out there and get hurt and just like, like a body part hurt. And how that affected me. I could not imagine if I was sitting here watching and he is on the ground like that, like Tua. Like it shouldn't happen. No one should ever have to see that. It shouldn't even get that far. And that's the problem. Football shouldn't have to stop, we just know. But the point is, the one thing that they need to be changed for sure is changing the concussion protocol, whichever quote unquote whatever the protocol technically is, and how serious we take concussions, how serious we take all of it. That's what just really needs to be changed. And to be honest, I really don't see it happening, but I really, really, really hope it does at some point. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I don't know. I just really need to speak about that because, of course, like not only is it relevant right now, but it's just something that I don't agree with. I love football. You guys know I love it. It's my favorite. I want to play. I wish I played. I wish I had an option. Like I love it. Okay, but anytime I feel people are a part of something and their voices cannot be heard or they're being taken advantage of, I have a serious problem with it. And it just bothers me. And so, the next 60 years of your life is more important than the next 10 that you're going to have playing for this organization. And to think like, oh my God, you guys, like the show just went on. The man gets off the field. They bring Teddy Bridgewater out and it's like the show must go on. And I know, of course, he wasn't dead, but it was like, can we take a moment of silence? Can we have a moment, please? Like a pause. The show must go on. The money must keep being made. The commercials have to keep rolling. Like, I'm sorry. So I just really want to speak on that today. And no, my voice might not change anything. Then no one's gonna listen to this and be like, "Oh, she's so right. Let's change it." But I want to at least know that I said my part. I did what I need to say, and it's being heard. Thank you guys so much for listening. As always, be sure to follow us on Instagram at KC Locker Room Talk. Be sure to message, like I said, on there, any suggestions, podcast things you want to hear about, any topics, let me know, and I'll definitely do it for you guys. See you in the next one. Bye.